Elysium. The name itself conjures images of paradise, a utopian realm untouched by human hands. When our team of explorers was assigned to survey this newly discovered alien world, the excitement was palpable. We were venturing into the unknown, a place no human had ever set foot. The mission promised discovery, adventure, and the chance to unravel the mysteries of a new world. Yet, none of us could have predicted the dark secrets that Elysium held. As I sit down to recount our journey, I am overwhelmed by a mix of awe and trepidation. The experience was transformative, leaving an indelible mark on each member of our team. What began as a scientific expedition quickly turned into a struggle for survival, forcing us to confront not only the alien landscape but also the shadows lurking within ourselves. Our team was a diverse group of scientists, engineers, and explorers, each bringing unique skills to the mission. There was Dr. Emily Carter, our lead xenobiologist, whose expertise in alien ecosystems was unparalleled. Then there was Dr. Max Evans, an archaeologist with a penchant for ancient civilizations and a knack for deciphering cryptic symbols. Sarah Lawson, our engineer, was responsible for maintaining our equipment and ensuring our safety in the face of the unknown. Lastly, Captain David Reyes, our fearless leader, whose military background provided the discipline and strategic thinking we would come to rely on. The journey to Elysium took months, traveling through the vast expanse of space aboard the Starship Odyssey. As we approached the planet, its beauty was breathtaking. Verdant forests, towering mountains, and crystal-clear lakes spread out before us like a living painting. The planet's atmosphere was remarkably similar to Earth's, a rare find in the cosmos. Initial scans showed no signs of advanced technology or major cities, suggesting that the planet was either uninhabited or home to a primitive civilization. Upon landing, our first priority was to establish a base camp and begin preliminary surveys. The air was fresh and filled with unfamiliar scents, and the flora and fauna were unlike anything we had seen before. It was a biologist's dream and a mystery waiting to be unraveled. We soon encountered the native inhabitants, a seemingly primitive species that called themselves the Elysians. They appeared to live simple lives, in harmony with their environment, and showed no interest in technology or warfare. Despite their primitive appearance, there was an air of serenity and wisdom about them that was intriguing. As we interacted more with the Elysians, we discovered their society was governed by a council of elders, and their daily lives were deeply intertwined with the natural world. They were skilled in herbal medicine, farming, and crafting, yet there was a noticeable absence of any written language or historical records. This piqued the curiosity of Dr. Evans, who suspected that their history was preserved through oral traditions and rituals. Our initial interactions with the Elysians were cautious but cordial. They welcomed us with a mix of curiosity and wariness, which was understandable given their isolation from other civilizations. Dr. Carter was particularly fascinated by their unique biology and symbiotic relationship with the planet's ecosystem. It was as if the Elysians were an integral part of Elysium, not just inhabitants but caretakers. As days turned into weeks, we began to notice strange occurrences. Unexplained phenomena, eerie sounds in the night, and glimpses of shadowy figures that seemed to vanish into thin air. The Elysians, when questioned, would offer cryptic responses or divert the conversation. It became clear that they were hiding something that lay beneath the surface of their tranquil existence. Our breakthrough came when Dr. Evans discovered a series of ancient symbols etched into the rocks near a secluded part of the jungle. These symbols were unlike anything we had seen on the planet and hinted at a forgotten past. As we delved deeper, the true nature of Elysium began to reveal itself. The primitive facade of the Elysians masked a history of advanced technology and knowledge that had been deliberately buried. It was in the heart of the jungle, within the ruins of an ancient temple, that we uncovered the most startling revelations. The temple, hidden for millennia, held artifacts and inscriptions that spoke of a great civilization that once thrived on Elysium. This civilization had achieved remarkable advancements in science and technology, far beyond anything we could have imagined. But something had gone terribly wrong, leading to their downfall and the deliberate erasure of their legacy. As we pieced together the fragments of Elysium's history, we realized the true nature of the Elysian secret. They were not merely primitive natives, but the descendants of this once great civilization. Their current way of life was a conscious choice, a means to protect themselves and the planet from the dangers of their past. The darkness they sought to hide was not just a part of their history, but a lurking threat that still cast its shadow over Elysium. The more we learned, the more dangerous our mission became. We found ourselves entangled in a web of secrets, lies, and hidden threats. The Elysians' serene demeanor masked a deep-seated fear, a fear that was well-founded. As we ventured further into the unknown, we realized that our survival depended on unraveling the truth and confronting the shadows of Elysium. This is the story of our journey, a tale of discovery and survival, of facing the unknown and uncovering the hidden truths of a world that defied our expectations. It is a story that challenges our understanding of civilization, technology, and the delicate balance between progress and preservation. Elysium taught us that the greatest discoveries often come with the highest risks, and that the shadows of the past can cast long and dangerous echoes into the present. The journey to Elysium was long and arduous. Months of traveling through the void of space, sustained by the hope of what awaited us, had taken a toll on our crew. When the planet finally came into view, it was like a beacon of promise, a new world bathed in the soft glow of its sun. The Odyssey, our trusted starship, descended through the atmosphere, and the view that greeted us was nothing short of breathtaking. The landscape was a mosaic of green and blue, with lush forests stretching as far as the eye could see, interrupted by sparkling rivers and lakes. Majestic mountains loomed in the distance, their snow-capped peaks piercing the sky. The planet's beauty was otherworldly, a living canvas of nature's artistry. As we made our descent, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and anticipation. Captain David Reyes, ever the pragmatic leader, was focused on ensuring a smooth landing. His voice crackled over the intercom, issuing precise instructions to the crew. Prepare for landing. All hands, secure your stations. His calm demeanor was a reassuring presence, a steady anchor in the face of the unknown. The Odyssey touched down on a flat plateau near the edge of a dense forest. The landing site had been carefully chosen based on preliminary scans, which indicated it was a safe and strategic location for our base camp. As the engines powered down, the silence of the planet enveloped us, a stark contrast to the constant hum of the starship. Dr. Emily Carter was the first to step out, her face alight with excitement. "The air is breathable, atmospheric conditions are ideal," she reported, her voice tinged with wonder. "It's like Earth, but different." The rest of us followed, setting foot on Elysium for the first time. The ground beneath us was firm, covered in a carpet of vibrant moss and delicate flowers. The air was fresh and crisp, filled with the unfamiliar sense of alien flora. It was a biologist's dream, a treasure trove of new species waiting to be discovered. Our first priority was to establish the base camp. Sarah Lawson, our engineer, was in charge of setting up the necessary equipment. Portable shelters, communication arrays, and scientific instruments were quickly assembled with practiced efficiency. Within hours, we had a functional camp, a small hub of human activity in the midst of an untouched wilderness. Captain Reyes gathered us for a briefing. "Our mission is to explore and document this planet, to learn as much as we can about its ecosystem and inhabitants," he said, his voice firm and resolute. "But remember, we're guests here. Respect the environment and the native species. We don't know what we're dealing with yet." The team nodded in agreement, the gravity of the mission sinking in. We were pioneers on a new frontier, tasked with uncovering the secrets of Elysium. The excitement was palpable, but so was the underlying sense of responsibility. Our first days on Elysium were spent conducting preliminary surveys and establishing communication with our home base. Dr. Carter and her team began cataloging the flora and fauna, while Dr. Evans focused on mapping the area and searching for signs of intelligent life. Sarah worked tirelessly to ensure our equipment was functioning optimally, while Captain Reyes coordinated our efforts and maintained a watchful eye on our surroundings. It wasn't long before we encountered the Elysians. They appeared suddenly, emerging from the forest with an eerie silence. There were about a dozen of them, their appearance both familiar and alien. They were humanoid, with slender, agile bodies and skin that shimmered with a faint iridescence. Their eyes were large and expressive, filled with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Dr. Carter stepped forward, extending a hand in greeting. "We come in peace," she said, her voice gentle and reassuring. The Elysians studied us intently, their expressions inscrutable. After a moment of tense silence, one of them stepped forward, mimicking Dr. Carter's gesture. It was a tentative first contact, a delicate dance of mutual curiosity and wariness. Communication was a challenge. The Elysians spoke in a melodic language that was unlike anything we had encountered before. Dr. Evans, with his background in linguistics, took the lead in trying to decipher their speech. It was a slow and painstaking process, but gradually we began to understand each other. The Elysians introduced themselves as caretakers of the land. They spoke of their deep connection to Elysium, of living in harmony with nature. There was a simplicity to their way of life, a reverence for the world around them that was both beautiful and humbling. Yet, there was also an undercurrent of secrecy, a sense that they were withholding something. As we spent more time with the Elysians, we observed their daily routines and rituals. They lived in small, communal villages, their homes constructed from natural materials. They farmed, hunted, and gathered, their skills honed over generations. There was a profound sense of community and cooperation, a stark contrast to the individualism of human society. Despite their seemingly simple way of life, there were hints of something more. We noticed strange symbols carved into the rocks near their villages, symbols that Dr. Evans believed held the key to their history. The Elysians were reluctant to discuss these symbols, diverting the conversation whenever we inquired about them. It was clear that the Elysians were not what they seemed. Their serene exterior masked a deeper, more complex reality. We were determined to uncover the truth, to understand the shadows that lingered beneath the surface of Elysium. Our journey had just begun, and already, we were faced with mysteries that defied explanation. The beauty of Elysium was undeniable, but so too was the sense of foreboding. The planet held secrets that could change our understanding of life, civilization, and the universe itself. As we stood on the threshold of discovery, we knew that our mission would test us in ways we had never imagined. The shadows of Elysium were waiting, and we were about to step into their depths. The Elysians were an enigma, and our first days of interaction with them were filled with cautious observation and tentative communication. The initial contact had been peaceful, but the true nature of our relationship with them remained uncertain. Dr. Evans, with his background in linguistics and anthropology, took the lead in establishing a more profound connection. "We need to understand their language," he said during one of our team meetings. "Language is the key to unlocking their culture and their secrets. Without it, we're just outsiders looking in." The task was monumental. The Elysians' language was complex, filled with subtle intonations and melodic variations that conveyed meanings beyond our initial comprehension. Dr. Evans set up a makeshift classroom in the heart of our base camp, where he and a few Elysians who seemed particularly interested in us could exchange knowledge. One of the Elysians, a young female named Leora, emerged as a primary liaison. She was curious, intelligent, and eager to learn about us as much as we were to learn about her people. Through a combination of gestures, drawings, and the gradual development of a basic vocabulary, we began to bridge the communication gap. Leora showed us around her village, explaining their way of life. The Elysians lived in harmony with their environment, using sustainable practices that ensured the continued health of their ecosystem. They gathered fruits and nuts from the forest, cultivated small gardens, and fished in the nearby rivers. Their tools were simple but effective, crafted from stone, wood, and bone. Despite their apparent simplicity, there was an undeniable sophistication to their understanding of the natural world. Dr. Carter was particularly impressed by their knowledge of medicinal plants. "They have cures for ailments we haven't even identified," she marveled. "Their herbal medicine is incredibly advanced." As we spent more time with the Elysians, we noticed their rituals and ceremonies. They had a profound spiritual connection to Elysium, viewing the planet as a living entity deserving of reverence and care. Their rituals were often conducted at night, under the light of Elysium's 2 moons, and involved chants, dances, and offerings to the natural elements. One evening, Leora invited us to witness one such ceremony. It took place in a clearing deep within the forest, where the trees formed a natural amphitheater. The Elysians gathered in a circle, their voices rising in a harmonious chant that seemed to resonate with the very earth beneath our feet. It was a mesmerizing sight, one that left us feeling both humbled and awed. After the ceremony, we gathered around a fire, sharing stories and exchanging knowledge. Leora and a few other Elysians showed a keen interest in our technology. They were fascinated by our communication devices, our tools, and even the concept of space travel. We, in turn, were eager to learn more about their history and culture. Dr. Evans took this opportunity to ask Leora about the symbols we had seen carved into the rocks. "What do these mean?" he inquired, showing her a sketch of the symbols. Leora's expression grew serious. She glanced at the other Elysians, who exchanged uneasy looks. After a moment of hesitation, she spoke softly, her words measured and deliberate. "Those symbols are from the time before." "The time before?" Dr. Evans pressed gently. "Before what?" Leora sighed, looking up at the moons. "Before the Great Silence. Our ancestors were different. They had many things, knew many things. But it all changed. They chose a new path, a simpler life, to protect Elysium." Her words sent a shiver down my spine. There was a weight to her statement, a sense of loss and caution. It was clear that whatever had happened in the past, it had left an indelible mark on their society. The Great Silence, as she called it, was a turning point, a moment when their civilization had chosen to forsake its advanced ways. Dr. Evans nodded, respecting her reluctance to delve deeper into the topic. "Thank you, Leora. We appreciate you sharing this with us." As the night wore on, we continued to learn more about the Elysians. They were a paradox, a people who had once achieved great heights of knowledge and technology, but had chosen to live in harmony with nature, forsaking the trappings of their former civilization. It was a choice that seemed both wise and mysterious, raising more questions than answers. The next morning, we resumed our exploration of the area surrounding our base camp. Dr. Carter and her team focused on cataloging the diverse plant and animal life, while Dr. Evans and I continued our efforts to understand the Elysians' history and culture. Sarah, ever diligent, worked on maintaining our equipment and ensuring our safety. As we ventured deeper into the forest, we came across more of the mysterious symbols. They were carved into trees, etched into stones, and even woven into the fabric of Elysian garments. It was clear that these symbols held significant meaning, perhaps a link to their past and the knowledge they had chosen to bury. One day, while exploring a particularly dense part of the jungle, we stumbled upon an ancient structure. It was hidden beneath layers of vines and moss, almost as if nature itself was trying to conceal it. The structure was made of stone, with intricate carvings and designs that matched the symbols we had seen. Dr. Evans was ecstatic. "This could be a major breakthrough," he exclaimed, examining the carvings closely. "These inscriptions might hold the key to understanding their past." We carefully documented the site, taking photographs and sketches. The structure appeared to be a temple of some sort, perhaps a place of worship or knowledge. It was both awe-inspiring and eerie, a testament to a forgotten era. As we explored further, we found a hidden chamber within the temple. The air inside was cool and damp, filled with the scent of ancient stone and earth. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, upon which lay a stone tablet covered in more of the mysterious symbols. Dr. Evans approached the tablet with reverence, his hands trembling slightly as he touched its surface. "This is incredible," he whispered. "It's a record, a piece of their history." Translating the tablet would be a monumental task, but Dr. Evans was determined. With Leora's help, he began to decipher the symbols, slowly piecing together the story they told. It was a tale of great achievements and devastating consequences, of a civilization that had reached for the stars but had been brought low by its own hubris. The more we learned, the more we realized the significance of the Great Silence. It was a turning point, a moment of reckoning for the Elysians. They had chosen to forsake their advanced ways to preserve the balance of their world, to prevent the mistakes of the past from repeating. As we delved deeper into the mysteries of Elysium, we felt a growing sense of connection to this alien world and its inhabitants. Their journey mirrored our own, a quest for knowledge tempered by the wisdom of restraint. Yet, there was an undercurrent of unease, a feeling that the shadows of the past still lingered, waiting to be uncovered. The days turned into weeks, and our bond with the Elysians grew stronger. We learned from each other, shared our stories, and forged a connection that transcended the barriers of language and culture. But with each new discovery, we were drawn deeper into the enigma of Elysium, compelled to uncover the truth that lay hidden beneath its serene surface. Our journey was far from over, and the shadows of Elysium still loomed large. We were determined to unravel the mysteries of this alien world, to understand the choices the Elysians had made and the secrets they guarded so closely. The path ahead was uncertain, but we were ready to face whatever challenges lay in wait. The adventure had just begun, and Elysium was waiting to reveal its darkest secrets. The discovery of the ancient temple and the stone tablet within it had given us a glimpse into the hidden depths of Elysian history. It was a tantalizing clue, a fragment of a larger story that we were determined to piece together. Dr. Evans worked tirelessly with Leora to translate the tablet, while the rest of us continued our exploration and research. The Elysians' village, nestled in a valley surrounded by dense jungle, became our primary base of operations. The villagers had grown accustomed to our presence, and a sense of mutual respect and curiosity flourished between us. We were no longer just outsiders. We were part of their daily lives, sharing meals, stories, and work. One morning, as the sun rose over the canopy, casting a golden light on the village, Leora approached us with a proposition. "There is another village," she said, her eyes filled with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "It is deeper in the jungle, and it is said to hold more of our history. Would you like to see it?" The opportunity to explore another village, potentially uncovering more secrets of the Elysians' past, was too enticing to pass up. Captain Reyes, ever the cautious leader, ensured we were well prepared for the journey. We gathered our gear, packed supplies, and set out with Leora as our guide. The trek through the jungle was arduous but exhilarating. The path was overgrown, and the air was thick with humidity and the scents of exotic plants. The sounds of unseen creatures echoed around us, a constant reminder that we were in a world teeming with life. As we pushed deeper into the jungle, the sense of adventure was palpable. After several hours of hiking, we arrived at the second village. It was smaller than the first, more secluded, and surrounded by towering trees that seemed to form a protective barrier. The villagers greeted us with the same mixture of curiosity and caution we had experienced before. They were wary but not unfriendly, their eyes reflecting a deep wisdom and a hint of sadness. Leora introduced us to the village elder, a wizened woman named Anara. She was frail, but her eyes sparkled with intelligence and a lifetime of knowledge. She welcomed us with a gracious nod and invited us to sit by the central fire. The villagers gathered around, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. Dr. Evans, eager to learn more, presented the sketch of the symbols we had found in the temple. "Elder Anara," he said respectfully, "we seek to understand these symbols and the history they represent. Can you help us?" Anara studied the sketch for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Finally, she spoke, her voice soft but clear. "These symbols tell the story of our ancestors, of a time when we reached beyond the skies and delved into the mysteries of the universe. But with great knowledge came great peril. The great silence was our reckoning, a choice to abandon the path of destruction and return to harmony with Elysium." Her words resonated deeply with us. It was a narrative we had begun to piece together, but hearing it from Anara gave it a new depth and clarity. She continued, explaining that the village we stood in had been one of the last to hold onto the remnants of their advanced past. Here, the elders preserved the knowledge and history, passing it down through generations in the hopes that future leaders would learn from their mistakes. Anara led us to a small hut at the edge of the village. Inside, We found shelves lined with scrolls and tablets, each one covered in the same intricate symbols. It was a treasure trove of information, a library of the Elysians' lost knowledge. Dr. Evans' eyes widened in amazement as he realized the significance of what we had found. "We need to document all of this," he said, his voice barely containing his excitement. "This is a historical archive, a window into their past." With the villagers' permission, we began the painstaking process of cataloging and translating the scrolls and tablets. Each document revealed new facets of the Elysians' history. Their achievements in science and technology, their exploration of the stars, and the catastrophic events that led to the Great Silence. It was a story of ambition, hubris, and redemption, a tale that echoed the rise and fall of civilizations throughout the cosmos. As we worked, we noticed a recurring theme in the texts, a warning about a powerful force, a dark energy that had nearly destroyed their world. The texts referred to it as the Shadow, a malevolent presence that had corrupted their technology and driven them to the brink of annihilation. The Great Silence had been their desperate attempt to sever their connection to this dark force and protect their world. The more we learned, the more we realized that the Elysians' decision to abandon their advanced ways was not just a cultural choice but a survival strategy. They had sacrificed their technological prowess to safeguard their future, choosing a simpler, more harmonious existence over the temptations and dangers of their past. As days turned into weeks, our bond with the villagers deepened. We shared stories of our own world, our own history, and the challenges we faced. The Elysians, in turn, shared their wisdom and their connection to Elysium. It was a mutually enriching exchange, one that transcended the barriers of language and culture. One evening, as we sat by the fire, Anara told us a story that sent chills down our spines. It was a tale of a prophecy, a vision seen by the ancient seers during the time of the Great Silence. The prophecy spoke of outsiders who would come to Elysium, drawn by the planet's beauty and mystery. These outsiders would uncover the secrets of the past and face the shadow once more. The fate of Elysium would rest in their hands. "You are the ones foretold," Anara said, her eyes piercing into our souls. "You have come to Elysium at a time of great change. The shadow stirs once more, and you must be prepared for what is to come." Her words left us in a state of profound reflection. We had come to Elysium seeking knowledge and adventure, but we now faced a responsibility far greater than we had anticipated. The shadows of the past were not merely historical remnants but an active threat that could endanger both the Elysians and ourselves. As we continued our work, the sense of urgency grew. We needed to understand the full extent of the Elysians' history and the nature of the shadow if we were to have any hope of protecting Elysium. Our mission had evolved from exploration to a quest for survival, a journey into the depths of a world that held both breathtaking beauty and lurking danger. The village, with its ancient wisdom and serene beauty, became our sanctuary and our battlefield. We were determined to uncover the truth, to face the shadow, and to help the Elysians preserve the delicate balance they had fought so hard to maintain. The journey ahead was fraught with peril, but we were ready to face it together, united by our shared purpose and the bonds we had forged. The shadows of Elysium loomed ever larger, and as we stood on the brink of discovery, we knew that our greatest challenges and our most profound revelations were yet to come. Anara's prophecy hung over us like a dark cloud, infusing our every action with a sense of urgency and foreboding. The village had become more than a site of study. It was now the heart of our mission, the place where we would either uncover the means to protect Elysium or witness its descent into chaos. Dr. Evans and Leora worked tirelessly, decoding the ancient texts and piecing together the Elysians' history. The more they uncovered, the clearer it became that the shadow was not merely a metaphorical threat, but a tangible force that had wreaked havoc in the past. Its origins were still shrouded in mystery, but its impact on Elysian society was evident. One particularly revealing text described a period of rapid technological advancement, during which the Elysians had developed powerful machines and harnessed the energy of the planet itself. This golden age had ended abruptly when the shadow emerged, corrupting their technology and turning their creations against them. The resulting devastation had led to the Great Silence, a collective decision to abandon their advanced ways and live in harmony with Elysium. As we delved deeper into the texts, we found references to a hidden sanctuary, a place where the Elysians had stored their most dangerous technologies and knowledge. It was said to be protected by powerful wards and accessible only to those deemed worthy. The sanctuary, known as the Heart of Elysium, was believed to hold the key to understanding the shadow and possibly defeating it. "Our next step is clear," Captain Reyes declared during one of our meetings. "We need to find the Heart of Elysium. If we can access its knowledge, we might be able to stop the shadow from rising again." Leora nodded in agreement. "The path to the heart is fraught with dangers, both natural and supernatural. But I believe we are destined to make this journey together." The village elders provided us with guidance and blessings, sharing what little they knew about the heart's location. They warned us of the trials we would face, emphasizing that only those with pure intentions could hope to succeed. Armed with this knowledge, we set out into the jungle once more, determined to uncover the heart's secrets. The journey was grueling. We trekked through dense foliage, navigated treacherous terrain, and encountered various creatures that seemed intent on hindering our progress. Each step forward felt like a battle, but we were driven by the knowledge that our mission was crucial to the survival of Elysium. One night, as we made camp by a river, we were attacked by a pack of wild, nocturnal predators. Their eyes glowed eerily in the dark, and their howls sent shivers down our spines. We fought them off with makeshift weapons and sheer determination, sustaining a few injuries in the process. The experience left us shaken but resolute, our bond as a team stronger than ever. As we pressed on, we began to notice strange phenomena. The air grew colder, and an unnatural mist enveloped the jungle. Shadows seemed to move of their own accord, whispering unintelligible words that filled us with dread. It was as if the shadow itself was aware of our presence and sought to deter us. Despite these obstacles, we finally reached a clearing where an ancient stone archway stood, covered in vines and glowing with a faint, ethereal light. This, we knew, was the entrance to the Heart of Elysium. The archway was inscribed with symbols similar to those we had seen before, and Leora worked quickly to decipher them. "This is it," she said, her voice filled with awe. "We must enter, but we must do so with pure hearts and clear minds. The heart will test us." Taking a deep breath, we stepped through the archway, one by one. On the other side, we found ourselves in a vast underground chamber, illuminated by bioluminescent plants and crystals. The air was thick with an ancient power, and the walls were lined with intricate carvings that told the story of the Elysians' rise and fall. At the center of the chamber stood a large, crystalline structure, pulsating with a soft, rhythmic light. This, we realized, was the Heart of Elysium. As we approached, a voice echoed through the chamber, speaking directly into our minds. "Welcome, seekers of truth. You have come to the Heart of Elysium, the repository of our greatest knowledge and our darkest secrets. To access this knowledge, you must prove your worth. Each of you will face a trial, a test of your character and resolve. Only then will the truth be revealed." The voice fell silent, and the chamber seemed to hum with anticipation. We looked at each other, a mix of determination and anxiety in our eyes. There was no turning back now. The trials awaited, and the fate of Elysium hung in the balance. Dr. Evans was the first to step forward, his face set in grim determination. As he approached the heart, a beam of light enveloped him, and he disappeared from view. We could only hope that he would succeed in his trial and that we would all emerge victorious. One by one, we faced our trials. Each experience was deeply personal, a confrontation with our innermost fears and doubts. I found myself standing in a dark, featureless void, confronted by a shadowy figure that mirrored my every move. It whispered my deepest insecurities, challenging my resolve and testing my courage. But I stood firm, drawing strength from my purpose and the knowledge that I was not alone. As I overcame my trial, the void dissolved, and I found myself back in the chamber, surrounded by my comrades. Each of us bore the marks of our trials, but we had emerged stronger and more united. The Heart of Elysium pulsed brighter, acknowledging our success. The voice returned, filled with a sense of solemn approval. You have proven your worth. The knowledge you seek is now yours. But beware, for with this knowledge comes great responsibility. The shadow is a powerful force, and only through unity and wisdom can it be overcome. The heart began to reveal its secrets, projecting images and information into our minds. We saw visions of the Elysians past, their technological marvels, and the cataclysmic events that had led to the Great Silence. We learned about the shadow, a malevolent entity that had fed on their ambition and pride, corrupting their creations and nearly destroying their world. Armed with this knowledge, we understood the gravity of our mission. The shadow was not just a relic of the past. It was a present and imminent threat. We had to find a way to confront it and prevent it from consuming Elysium once more. As we left the heart of Elysium, the weight of our responsibility settled upon us. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger, but we were no longer just explorers. We were guardians of a world on the brink of either destruction or renewal. The jungle seemed less foreboding as we made our way back to the village, our spirits buoyed by the knowledge we had gained and the trials we had overcome. The Elysians greeted us with relief and respect, sensing the change in us. We were no longer just visitors, we were allies in their struggle. The final battle with the shadow loomed ever closer, and we knew that we had to prepare for the challenges ahead. The fate of Elysium depended on our courage, our unity, and our ability to wield the knowledge we had been granted. The shadows of the past were rising, but we were ready to face them, determined to protect the future of this remarkable world. Our return to the village was met with a mixture of relief and anticipation. The Elysians sensed the change in us and knew we had gained vital knowledge from the heart of Elysium. Anara, ever wise and perceptive, gathered the villagers to hear our account of what we had learned. As we stood before the assembled Elysians, Dr. Evans took the lead in recounting our journey and the revelations we had uncovered. He spoke of the trials we had faced, the knowledge we had gained, and the imminent threat posed by the shadow. The villagers listened intently, their expressions a mix of fear and determination. We have learned that the shadow is not just a remnant of the past, Dr. Evans concluded. It is a living force that seeks to corrupt and destroy. We must prepare to face it, together. Anara nodded solemnly. The prophecy has spoken of this time. We have always known that the shadow would return, and that we would need allies to confront it. You are those allies, and together, we will protect Elysium. The village sprang into action. Under Anara's guidance, the Elysians began to prepare for the confrontation. They fortified their homes, gathered supplies, and crafted weapons from the natural resources around them. Despite their peaceful nature, they understood the necessity of defending their world. Our team worked alongside the Elysians, sharing our knowledge and expertise. Sarah, with her engineering skills, helped to reinforce the village's defenses. Dr. Carter focused on ensuring that everyone had access to medical supplies and knowledge of basic first aid. Captain Reyes coordinated our efforts, maintaining a clear plan and boosting morale. Leora proved to be an invaluable asset, bridging the gap between our cultures and facilitating communication. She organized training sessions, where we taught the Elysians how to use the tools and techniques we had brought with us. In return, they shared their own knowledge of the land and its secrets, teaching us how to navigate the jungle and use its resources to our advantage. As the days passed, a sense of camaraderie and unity grew among us. We were no longer just scientists and explorers. We were part of a larger community, united by a common purpose. The Elysians' resilience and adaptability inspired us, and we drew strength from their unwavering commitment to protecting their world. One evening, as we gathered around the central fire, Anara shared more of the prophecy. The shadow thrives on fear and division, she explained. It seeks to sow discord and turn us against each other. Our greatest strength lies in our unity and our determination to protect Elysium. Remember this in the days to come. Her words resonated deeply with us. We knew that the battle ahead would not only be fought with weapons and technology, but with our resolve and our ability to stand together against the darkness. As preparations continued, we began to notice subtle changes in the environment. The jungle, once vibrant and teeming with life, seemed to grow quieter, as if holding its breath. Strange phenomena became more frequent. Unnatural shadows flickered at the edges of our vision, and whispers carried on the wind, unintelligible but filled with malice. One night, I awoke to find the village shrouded in an eerie mist. The air was cold, and a sense of dread hung over us like a suffocating blanket. As I stepped outside, I saw others had also awakened, drawn by the same unsettling feeling. Leora approached me, her expression tense. "The shadow is close," she said softly. "We can all feel it." We gathered in the central square, where Anara stood waiting. Her presence was a calming force, and she addressed us with a steady voice. "The time is near. The shadow seeks to intimidate us, to weaken our resolve. But we will not falter. We will face it with courage and unity." Captain Reyes took charge, organizing us into defensive positions around the village. We knew that the final confrontation was imminent, and every moment counted. The villagers took up their positions with determination, ready to defend their home. As dawn approached, the mist began to lift, revealing a sky tinged with an unnatural hue. The jungle was eerily silent, as if the entire world was holding its breath. We stood ready, our hearts pounding with anticipation and fear. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and a low, ominous hum filled the air. Dark shapes emerged from the forest, their forms shifting and indistinct. It was the shadow, manifesting in physical form, a malevolent presence that seemed to absorb the light around it. Captain Reyes raised her voice, rallying us. "Stand strong. Remember what we fight for. For Elysium." The battle began in a flurry of motion and sound. The Elysians fought with a ferocity born of love for their home, using their knowledge of the land to their advantage. Our team used our technology and skills to support them, working together seamlessly. The Shadow's minions were relentless, their forms twisting and changing, making them difficult to fight. But we held our ground, driven by the knowledge that failure was not an option. As the battle raged on, I found myself facing one of the Shadow's creatures. It was a terrifying sight, its body shifting and writhing, eyes glowing with a sinister light. It lunged at me, and I fought back with everything I had, every ounce of training and determination. In the midst of the chaos, I saw Dr. Evans and Leora working together, chanting an incantation they had learned from the ancient texts. They were attempting to seal the shadow, to contain its power and drive it away. Their voices rose above the din of battle, clear and strong. With a final, desperate push, they completed the incantation. A brilliant light erupted from the heart of Elysium, enveloping the shadow and its minions. The darkness recoiled, shrieking in pain and anger, before dissolving into nothingness. The silence that followed was deafening. We stood in the aftermath, bruised and exhausted but victorious. The shadow had been driven back, and Elysium was safe, at least for now. Anara approached us, her eyes filled with gratitude. "You have fulfilled the prophecy," she said softly. "The shadow is defeated, but its threat is never truly gone. We must remain vigilant, always ready to protect our world." We nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. Elysium would always need guardians, people who were willing to stand against the darkness and protect the light. As we looked around the village, at the faces of our friends and allies, we knew that we had found something precious here. Elysium was more than just an alien world. It was a place of beauty, resilience, and hope, and we were honored to be part of its story. The journey had changed us all, binding us together in ways we could never have imagined. We were no longer just explorers and scientists. We were defenders of a world that had welcomed us with open arms. And as we stood on the brink of a new dawn, we knew that our mission was far from over. The future of Elysium lay in our hands, and we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in our resolve to protect this extraordinary world. The battle against the shadow had taken its toll on all of us. The village bore the scars of the confrontation. Structures damaged, crops trampled, and an air of lingering unease. But amidst the destruction, there was a palpable sense of hope and unity. We had faced the shadow and emerged victorious, and now it was time to rebuild and renew. The first order of business was to assess the damage and begin repairs. The Elysians, with their deep connection to the land, took the lead in restoring their village. Under Anara's guidance, they worked tirelessly, repairing homes and replanting crops. Our team lent a hand wherever we could, using our skills and technology to expedite the process. Sarah, with her engineering expertise, spearheaded the effort to reinforce the village's defenses. She designed and constructed sturdy barriers and lookout points, ensuring that the village would be better prepared for any future threats. Her efforts were met with gratitude and admiration from the Elysians, who were impressed by her ingenuity and dedication. Dr. Carter focused on the well-being of the villagers, setting up a makeshift clinic to treat injuries sustained during the battle. He also worked with the Elysians to improve their understanding of medical practices, sharing knowledge that would help them care for their people in the long term. His compassion and expertise earned him the respect and trust of the villagers. Captain Reyes, ever the leader, coordinated our efforts and kept us focused on our goal. She held regular meetings with the village elders, discussing strategies for long-term security and ways to integrate our knowledge with their traditional practices. Her steady presence provided a sense of stability and direction, ensuring that we remained united in our efforts. Leora played a crucial role as our liaison, bridging the gap between our cultures and facilitating communication. She organized workshops where we shared our knowledge and learned from the Elysians in return. These exchanges fostered a deeper understanding and respect between our people, strengthening the bonds we had formed. One evening, as we gathered around the central fire, Anara addressed us. We have faced a great challenge and emerged stronger for it. But we must remain vigilant. The shadow is a cunning foe, and it will seek to exploit any weakness. We must continue to learn from each other, to grow and adapt, so that we may protect our world and our future. Her words resonated deeply with us. We knew that the battle against the shadow was not just a physical one. It was also a battle of knowledge and understanding. We had to continue exploring the secrets of Elysium to uncover the full extent of its history and the nature of the shadow. Dr. Evans proposed a plan to document and study the knowledge we had gained from the heart of Elysium. We need to create a comprehensive archive, he suggested, one that combines the ancient wisdom of the Elysians with our own scientific knowledge. This will not only help us understand the shadow, but also preserve this knowledge for future generations. The idea was met with enthusiastic support. We set up a dedicated research team, consisting of both our scientists and the Elysian scholars. Together, we began the painstaking process of translating and cataloging the information we had uncovered. It was a monumental task, but one that we approached with determination and a sense of purpose. As the weeks passed, the village began to take on a new life. The repairs were completed, and the crops began to flourish once more. The sense of unease that had lingered after the battle gradually dissipated, replaced by a renewed sense of hope and optimism. The Elysians' resilience and adaptability were truly remarkable, and we were honored to be part of their journey. One day, while exploring the surrounding jungle, we discovered a series of ancient ruins hidden beneath the dense foliage. The ruins appeared to be remnants of a once great city, a testament to the Elysians' advanced civilization before the Great Silence. We decided to investigate further, hoping to uncover more clues about their past and the origins of the shadow. The ruins were a labyrinth of crumbling stone structures and overgrown pathways. As we navigated through the ancient city, we stumbled upon a large chamber adorned with intricate carvings and symbols. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, upon which rested a crystalline artifact, similar to the heart of Elysium but smaller and more refined. Dr. Evans and Leora examined the artifact closely. This could be another key to understanding the shadow, Dr. Evans mused. It seems to be a repository of knowledge, much like the heart. Carefully, we activated the artifact, and it projected a series of holographic images and symbols into the air. The images depicted scenes of the Elysians' history, their technological advancements, and their encounters with the shadow. It was a visual chronicle of their rise, their fall, and their efforts to rebuild. One particular image caught our attention. It showed a group of Elysians standing before a colossal structure, their expressions a mixture of awe and determination. The structure, a towering obelisk, pulsed with a dark energy, similar to the shadow. The inscription beneath the image read, "The source of the shadow." "This must be it," Captain Reyes said, her voice filled with resolve. "The source of the shadow. If we can find it and understand it, we might be able to eliminate the threat once and for all." The discovery of the artifact and the image of the obelisk gave us a new sense of purpose. We knew that our journey was far from over. The source of the shadow was out there, and we had to find it. It was a daunting task, but one that we were ready to undertake, united by our mission and our bond with the Elysians. As we prepared for the next phase of our journey, we reflected on how far we had come. We had arrived on Elysium as strangers, seeking adventure and knowledge. Now, we were part of a community, driven by a shared goal and a deep sense of responsibility. The shadows of the past had risen, but we had faced them with courage and unity. And as we stood on the brink of a new adventure, we knew that we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, determined to protect Elysium and ensure its future. The journey continued, and with it, the promise of discovery, growth, and renewal. The image of the obelisk burned in our minds, a beacon calling us to uncover the source of the shadow. We knew that the journey ahead would be perilous, fraught with unknown dangers and challenges. But we also knew that the fate of Elysium depended on our success. Preparations for the expedition were meticulous. We gathered supplies, fortified our equipment, and consulted with the village elders. Anara and a select group of Elysians volunteered to accompany us, offering their knowledge and skills to guide us through the treacherous terrain. The day of departure dawned with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The entire village gathered to see us off, their faces reflecting a blend of hope and concern. Anara stood before us, her eyes filled with a quiet resolve. "Remember," she said, "the shadow thrives on fear and division. Stay united, trust in each other, and let the light of your purpose guide you." With those words echoing in our hearts, we set off into the jungle. The path was arduous, winding through dense foliage, over rugged hills, and across swift rivers. Each step brought us closer to the obelisk, but also deeper into the unknown. As we journeyed, we encountered remnants of the Elysians' past. Ancient structures, forgotten relics, and overgrown pathways that spoke of a once great civilization. These discoveries were both awe-inspiring and poignant, reminding us of the stakes of our mission. One evening, as we made camp by a tranquil lake, we gathered around the fire to share stories and strategies. Dr. Evans and Leora pored over the maps and texts we had collected, trying to pinpoint the location of the obelisk. "I believe we're getting closer," Leora said, tracing a line on the map. "According to these texts, the obelisk is located in a valley surrounded by mountains, a place where the energies of Elysium converge." Captain Reyes nodded. "We need to stay vigilant. The closer we get, the more likely we are to encounter the shadow's influence. We must be prepared for anything." The nights in the jungle were eerily silent, the darkness pressing in on us like a tangible force. Strange sounds and fleeting shadows kept us on edge, a constant reminder of the dangers lurking in the depths. Yet, amidst the tension, there was also a sense of camaraderie and purpose. We were united by our mission, our determination to protect Elysium, and our growing bond with the Elysians. As we approached the mountains, the terrain became more challenging. The air grew thinner and the paths steeper. We relied heavily on Anara and her team, who navigated the treacherous landscape with ease. Their knowledge of the land and its secrets was invaluable, guiding us through hidden trails and around dangerous obstacles. One day, we reached a high plateau overlooking a vast, mist-shrouded valley. In the distance, we could see the faint outline of the obelisk, a dark silhouette against the horizon. It stood tall and foreboding, pulsing with an ominous energy. "There it is," Sarah whispered, her voice tinged with awe and trepidation. "The source of the shadow." We descended into the valley, our senses heightened by the palpable presence of the shadow. The closer we got to the obelisk, the stronger the feeling of unease. The ground seemed to vibrate with a low, malevolent hum, and the air was thick with an oppressive energy. At the base of the obelisk, we found a clearing surrounded by ancient stones and twisted trees. The obelisk itself was massive, towering above us with a dark, crystalline surface that seemed to absorb the light around it. Strange symbols and carvings adorned its surface, pulsating with a sinister glow. "We need to understand how this works," Dr. Evans said, examining the symbols closely. "If we can decipher the carvings, we might find a way to neutralize its power." Leora and Anara joined him, their combined knowledge and insights proving crucial. As they worked, the rest of us kept watch, our eyes scanning the surroundings for any sign of danger. The tension was palpable, the air thick with anticipation. Hours passed and finally a breakthrough. "I think I've got it," Leora exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "These symbols describe a ritual, a way to disrupt the shadow's influence and weaken its power." Dr. Evans nodded. "We need to perform this ritual. It requires a combination of Elysian incantations and our own technological input. We must be precise and synchronized." Captain Reyes organized us into positions, each person assigned a specific task. Sarah set up the necessary equipment, while Dr. Carter prepared medical supplies in case of any emergencies. Anara and Leora began chanting the ancient incantations, their voices rising and falling in a harmonious rhythm. As the ritual commenced, the ground trembled, and the obelisk pulsed with a dark energy. We felt the shadow's resistance, a force pushing back against our efforts. But we pressed on, driven by our resolve and the knowledge that this was our best chance to protect Elysium. The air crackled with energy, and the symbols on the obelisk began to glow brighter. The combined power of the incantations and our technology created a swirling vortex of light and shadow, a battle of forces that left us breathless and on edge. Suddenly, there was a blinding flash of light, and the obelisk emitted a deep, resonant sound. The ground shook violently, and for a moment, it felt as though the entire valley would collapse. But then, just as quickly as it had begun, the tremors ceased, and a profound silence fell over the clearing. The obelisk stood dark and inert, its once pulsating energy gone. We looked at each other, a mix of exhaustion and elation on our faces. We had done it. We had disrupted the shadow's power and neutralized the source. Anara stepped forward, her eyes filled with a deep sense of gratitude. "You have done it. The shadow's hold has been weakened. Elysium is safer because of your courage and determination." As we began our journey back to the village, there was a sense of triumph and relief. The threat of the shadow had not been eliminated, but we had struck a significant blow against it. We had proven that through unity and determination, we could protect Elysium and ensure its future. The path back was filled with a renewed sense of hope and purpose. The jungle, once foreboding and dangerous, now seemed more welcoming, a testament to our victory and the resilience of the Elysians. When we finally reached the village, we were greeted with cheers and celebrations. The villagers had been anxiously awaiting our return, and their joy at seeing us safe and victorious was palpable. That night, we celebrated under the stars, sharing stories of our journey and the challenges we had overcome. As the festivities continued, I found myself reflecting on how much we had all grown. We had come to Elysium as explorers and scientists, seeking knowledge and adventure. But we had become so much more. We had become part of a community, united by a common purpose and a shared destiny. And as I looked around at the faces of my friends and allies, I knew that our journey was far from over. There would be more challenges to face, more mysteries to uncover, and more battles to fight. But we were ready, united in our resolve and determined to protect the future of this extraordinary world. The shadows of the past had risen, but we had faced them with courage and unity. And as we stood on the brink of a new dawn, we knew that we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, determined to protect Elysium and ensure its future. The journey continued, and with it, the promise of discovery, growth, and renewal. In the days that followed our return, the village buzzed with activity and optimism. The Elysians were eager to hear about our journey to the obelisk and the ritual that had disrupted the Shadow's power. We shared our experiences and discoveries, emphasizing the importance of vigilance and unity in the face of future threats. Anara, ever the wise leader, recognized the need to deepen our understanding of the Shadow and its origins. She proposed an expedition to the ancient city ruins we had discovered earlier, believing that they might hold more clues about the history of the Elysians and the true nature of the Shadow. Our team, along with a group of Elysian scholars, prepared for the journey. We equipped ourselves with the necessary tools and supplies, determined to uncover the hidden truths buried within the ancient city. The sense of purpose and curiosity that had driven us from the beginning was stronger than ever. The trek to the ruins was arduous but familiar. We moved with a sense of anticipation, knowing that each step brought us closer to answers that could change the course of our mission. When we finally arrived at the ancient city, we were struck once again by its grandeur and the poignant reminders of a lost civilization. We set up a base camp and began our exploration in earnest. The city was a labyrinth of crumbling buildings, overgrown pathways, and hidden chambers. Each discovery added a piece to the puzzle, revealing a rich tapestry of history and culture. It became clear that the Elysians had once been a highly advanced civilization, with a deep understanding of both technology and magic. As we delved deeper into the ruins, we found a series of underground tunnels that seemed to lead to a central chamber. The air grew cooler and the light dimmer as we descended, the walls lined with ancient symbols and carvings. The tension was palpable, each step echoing with the weight of history and the promise of revelation. At the heart of the underground complex, we discovered a vast chamber filled with intricate machinery and crystalline structures. In the center of the chamber stood a massive, dormant device that seemed to hum with a residual energy. The walls were adorned with murals depicting the Elysians' history, their rise, their fall, and their battles against the Shadow. Dr. Evans and Leora immediately set to work deciphering the symbols and examining the machinery. "This device appears to be some sort of nexus," Dr. Evans said, his voice filled with excitement. "It seems to have been used to channel and control energy, possibly even to contain or combat the Shadow." As we studied the murals, we noticed a recurring figure, a powerful Elysian leader who seemed to have played a crucial role in the fight against the Shadow. The inscriptions identified her as Elandra, the High Protector. She was depicted wielding a staff that radiated light, her presence commanding and resolute. "This staff," Leora said, pointing to the image. "It must be a key element in their battle against the Shadow. If we can find it, it might help us strengthen our defenses." Our exploration continued with renewed urgency. We scoured the chamber and the surrounding tunnels, searching for any clue that might lead us to the staff. Finally, in a hidden alcove, we found a pedestal bearing an inscription in the ancient Elysian script. Leora translated the text aloud. "Here lies the staff of Elandra, a beacon of hope and a weapon against the darkness. Only those who possess the heart and courage of a true protector may wield its power." The pedestal was empty, but a faint, glowing trail seemed to lead away from it, disappearing into a narrow passageway. We followed the trail, navigating through winding tunnels and hidden chambers, until we emerged into a small, secluded grotto. In the center of the grotto, bathed in a soft, ethereal light, stood the staff of Elandra. It was a magnificent artifact, crafted from a luminous crystal that pulsed with a gentle, reassuring energy. As we approached, we could feel its power, a warm, protective presence that seemed to welcome us. Captain Reyes stepped forward, her expression a mix of awe and determination. She reached out and grasped the staff, and a surge of energy flowed through her. The staff responded to her touch, its light growing brighter and more intense. "You are the protector," Anara said softly, her eyes filled with respect. "You possess the heart and courage needed to wield its power." With the staff of Elandra in our possession, we returned to the village, our spirits lifted by the discovery. We knew that the staff would be a crucial asset in our ongoing battle against the Shadow. Its power, combined with the knowledge we had gained, would help us fortify our defenses and prepare for whatever lay ahead. Back in the village, we shared our findings with the elders and the rest of the community. The presence of the staff inspired a renewed sense of hope and determination. We began integrating the staff's energy into our defenses, using it to strengthen the protective barriers around the village and enhance our understanding of the Shadow's weaknesses. Dr. Evans and Leora continued their research, delving deeper into the ancient texts and the knowledge we had uncovered. They worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of the staff and the ancient machinery, seeking ways to harness their power for the benefit of Elysium. As we stood on the threshold of a new chapter in our mission, we knew that the journey ahead would be challenging. The Shadow was a formidable foe, and its threat loomed large. But we also knew that we were not alone. The Elysians, with their wisdom and resilience, stood by our side, united in our common purpose. The discovery of the Staff of Elandra marked a turning point in our quest. It was a symbol of hope, a reminder of the strength and courage that lay within us all. And as we prepared to face the challenges ahead, we did so with a renewed sense of purpose and a deep conviction that, together, we could protect Elysium and ensure its future. The days following our return with the Staff of Elandra were filled with a flurry of activity. The village buzzed with preparations as we integrated the staff's power into our defenses and developed new strategies to counter the Shadow's threat. The staff's energy bolstered our barriers and provided a sense of security, but we knew that the real test lay ahead. Dr. Evans and Leora worked tirelessly, deciphering more of the ancient texts and uncovering new information about the Shadow. Their research revealed that the Shadow was not just a malevolent force but a complex entity with its own motives and origins. Understanding these intricacies was crucial to defeating it. One evening, as we gathered around the central fire, Dr. Evans shared his latest findings. The Shadow is more than just a dark force, he began, his voice steady and grave. It appears to be a manifestation of a much older entity, one that has existed since the dawn of Elysium's history. It feeds on fear, despair, and division, growing stronger in times of strife. Leora nodded, adding, "The texts speak of an ancient battle, long before the Great Silence, where the Elysians fought against this entity. The Staff of Elandra was created during that time as a means to combat its influence. The obelisk we encountered was part of a network designed to contain the Shadow, but over time, its power waned." Captain Reyes leaned forward, her eyes intense. "So what do we do next? How do we strengthen our defenses and prepare for the inevitable confrontation?" Anara, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. "We must unite our people and forge alliances with other villages. The Shadow thrives on division, so our strength lies in our unity. We need to gather our allies and prepare for a coordinated effort to confront and contain the Shadow." With a clear plan in mind, we set out to rally support from neighboring villages. Anara led the way, her reputation as a wise and respected leader opening doors and fostering trust. We traveled from village to village, sharing our experiences and the knowledge we had gained. The presence of the Staff of Elandra served as a powerful symbol, inspiring hope and confidence in those we met. The journey was long and arduous, but the response was overwhelmingly positive. The Elysians, despite their differences and the scars of past conflicts, understood the gravity of the threat we faced. Village leaders pledged their support, and alliances were formed, creating a network of cooperation and mutual aid. One evening, as we camped near a river, Anara addressed us. "We have made great strides, but the true test is yet to come. The Shadow will not remain idle, and it will seek to exploit any weakness. We must remain vigilant and continue to strengthen our bonds." Her words resonated deeply with us. We knew that the coming battle would require not only physical strength but also mental and emotional resilience. The Shadow's power lay in its ability to sow discord and fear, and we had to counter it with unity and courage. As we returned to the village, the sense of urgency grew. The sky darkened, and an oppressive atmosphere settled over the land. We could feel the Shadow's presence, a looming threat that cast a pall over our preparations. But we pressed on, determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Captain Reyes organized regular drills and strategy sessions, ensuring that everyone was prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Sarah and her team worked on fortifying our defenses, using the staff's energy to create protective barriers and enhance our technology. Dr. Carter continued to provide medical support, preparing for any injuries that might occur. One night, as we gathered for a strategy meeting, the ground trembled, and a distant rumble echoed through the village. We rushed outside, our hearts pounding with fear and anticipation. In the distance, we saw dark clouds swirling, illuminated by flashes of lightning. The air was thick with tension, and a palpable sense of dread settled over us. "The shadow is making its move," Anara said, her voice calm but resolute. "We must be ready." The following days were a blur of activity. We worked tirelessly, reinforcing our defenses and coordinating with our allies. Messages flew back and forth, and a sense of urgency permeated every aspect of our lives. We knew that the coming battle would be unlike anything we had faced before. As the storm clouds gathered on the horizon, we gathered in the village square, a sense of resolve and unity binding us together. Anara stood before us, her presence commanding and reassuring. "This is our moment," she said, her voice carrying over the assembled crowd. "The shadow seeks to destroy us, to tear us apart, but we will not falter. We will stand together, united and strong. Remember the lessons we have learned, the bonds we have forged. We are the protectors of Elysium, and we will not let the shadow prevail." Her words were met with a roar of approval, a collective expression of determination and courage. We knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but we were ready. The shadow's power was formidable, but our unity and resolve were stronger. As the first raindrops began to fall, we took our positions, ready to defend our home and our future. The storm was upon us, but we faced it with courage and hope. The shadows of the past had risen, but we had faced them before, and we would face them again. Together, we would protect Elysium and ensure its future. The journey continued, and with it, the promise of discovery, growth, and renewal. The storm broke with a fury unlike anything we had ever seen. The sky was a tumultuous swirl of dark clouds, illuminated by flashes of lightning that seemed to crack the very fabric of reality. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and the oppressive weight of impending conflict. Captain Reyes had organized our defenses with military precision. We were positioned in strategic locations around the village, ready to repel any attack. The staff of Elandra was placed at the heart of our defenses, its radiant energy forming a protective barrier that shimmered in the storm's light. As the storm raged, the ground began to tremble. From the darkness, shapes emerged, twisted, shadowy figures that moved with an eerie, unnatural grace. They were the physical manifestations of the shadow, their presence a chilling reminder of the malevolent force we faced. "Hold your positions," Captain Reyes commanded, her voice steady and authoritative. "Remember, we fight for Elysium and for each other." The first wave of shadow creatures hit our defenses with a ferocity that took our breath away. They moved like a dark tide, surging against our barriers and testing our resolve. Our weapons, enhanced by the staff's energy, cut through the creatures, their forms dissipating into the air with each strike. The battle was intense and chaotic. The sound of clashing weapons and the roar of the storm filled the air. Our allies, the Elysians from neighboring villages, fought alongside us, their courage and determination a testament to the bonds we had forged. Anara and her warriors led the charge, their skills and knowledge of the land proving invaluable. Dr. Evans and Leora, stationed near the staff of Elandra, chanted ancient incantations that amplified its power. The staff's light grew brighter, its protective barrier pulsing with a rhythm that matched the beating of our hearts. It was a beacon of hope amidst the darkness, a symbol of our collective strength. Despite our efforts, the shadow's forces seemed endless. Wave after wave of creatures assaulted our defenses, each one more relentless than the last. We fought with everything we had, but the sheer number of enemies began to take its toll. Our lines wavered, and fatigue set in. "Fall back to the central square," Captain Reyes ordered, her voice cutting through the chaos. We'll make our stand there. We retreated in an organized manner, regrouping around the staff of Alandra. The villagers, including the elderly and the children, huddled together, their faces etched with fear but also with a grim determination. We knew that this was the final stand, the last line of defense against the encroaching darkness. As the shadow creatures closed in, a deep, resonant hum filled the air. The ground trembled, and a dark figure emerged from the storm. It was a towering entity, its form shifting and indistinct, but its presence exuded a malevolent power that chilled us to the bone. This was the core of the shadow, the source of the malevolence that had plagued Elysium for so long. Anara stepped forward, the staff of Alandra in her hands. "We face the heart of the shadow," she said, her voice steady and strong. "But we do not face it alone. Together we will prevail." The final battle was a test of our unity and resolve. The shadow entity unleashed a torrent of dark energy, attempting to overwhelm us. But we stood firm, our combined strength and the staff's power creating a barrier of light that pushed back against the darkness. Captain Reyes led the charge, her leadership inspiring us to fight with renewed vigor. Sarah and her team, armed with the latest technology, targeted the shadow creatures with pinpoint accuracy, their weapons cutting through the enemy ranks. Dr. Carter and the medics moved swiftly, tending to the wounded and ensuring that our fighters could continue the battle. Anara, with the staff of Alandra, became a beacon of hope. She channeled its energy, creating waves of light that repelled the shadow's attacks. Her presence was a rallying point, her courage and determination inspiring us all. In the midst of the chaos, I found myself face to face with the core of the shadow. Its eyes, or what passed for eyes, seemed to bore into my soul, and I felt a wave of fear and despair wash over me. But I remembered Anara's words, the lessons we had learned, and the bonds we had forged. I stood my ground, drawing on the strength of my friends and allies. With a final, desperate effort, we focused our energy on the staff of Alandra. Anara raised it high, and a brilliant beam of light shot forth, piercing the heart of the shadow. The entity let out a deafening roar, its form dissolving into the air, and the remaining shadow creatures dissipated into nothingness. The storm began to clear, the dark clouds parting to reveal a sky filled with stars. The air was still, and a profound silence fell over the village. We had done it. We had faced the heart of the shadow and emerged victorious. The aftermath of the battle was a mix of relief and sorrow. We had lost many brave souls, their sacrifices a testament to their courage and commitment to protecting Elysium. We tended to the wounded and honored the fallen, their memories etched into our hearts. In the days that followed, we worked to rebuild and strengthen our defenses. The victory against the shadow had given us hope, but we knew that the threat was not entirely gone. The entity had been weakened, but its presence still lingered, a reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. Anara, standing with the staff of Alandra, addressed the village. "We have faced the darkness and emerged victorious, but our journey is not over. We must remain vigilant, united in our purpose and determined to protect Elysium. The bonds we have forged and the lessons we have learned will guide us in the days to come." Her words resonated deeply, a call to action and a reminder of our shared responsibility. The storm had passed, but the journey continued, and with it, the promise of discovery, growth, and renewal. As we looked to the future, we knew that we were stronger together. The shadows of the past had risen, but we had faced them with courage and unity. And as we stood on the brink of a new dawn, we knew that we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, determined to protect Elysium and ensure its future. The journey continued, and with it, the promise of discovery, growth, and renewal. We were the protectors of Elysium, united in our purpose and resolute in our determination to safeguard the future of this extraordinary world. The days after the battle were marked by a collective sense of relief and exhaustion. The Shadow's core had been defeated, but the village bore the scars of the conflict. Buildings were damaged, and the ground was littered with debris. The air, once heavy with tension, now carried the promise of renewal. Captain Reyes, ever the leader, organized teams to begin the rebuilding process. "We have work to do," she said, her voice carrying a mix of determination and weariness. "Let's get our village back on its feet." We set to work with a shared sense of purpose. The Elysians, resilient and resourceful, joined us in the efforts. It was heartening to see everyone come together, their spirits buoyed by our recent victory. The bonds we had forged during the battle were stronger than ever, uniting us in the face of adversity. Sarah led a team focused on repairing the village's infrastructure. Using the latest technology and the energy from the staff of Alandra, they worked tirelessly to restore power and communication lines. Dr. Carter and the medics continued to care for the wounded, their dedication ensuring that everyone received the help they needed. Anara and her council coordinated the efforts, their wisdom guiding us through the challenges of reconstruction. They emphasized the importance of incorporating the ancient Elysian knowledge we had uncovered into our rebuilding plans. This included strengthening our defenses and enhancing our understanding of the Shadow's lingering presence. As we worked, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought us to this point. From the initial discovery of Elysium to the harrowing battle against the Shadow, we had faced numerous trials. Each challenge had taught us valuable lessons about courage, resilience, and the power of unity. One evening, as the sun set over the village, casting a warm glow over our efforts, Anara called for a gathering in the central square. The villagers and our team assembled, their faces illuminated by the soft light of the setting sun. "We have faced great adversity," Anara began, her voice resonating with strength and compassion. "But we have also discovered the strength within ourselves and within each other. The battle against the Shadow has shown us the power of unity and the importance of standing together. Now, we must continue to build on that foundation, to create a future where Elysium can thrive." Her words were met with murmurs of agreement and nods of affirmation. The sense of community and shared purpose was palpable, a testament to the journey we had undertaken together. Dr. Evans stepped forward, holding the staff of Alandra. "This staff is not just a weapon," he said, his voice filled with reverence. "It is a symbol of our connection to the past and our commitment to the future. We must use its power wisely, to protect and to heal." With that, he placed the staff in a specially constructed holder at the center of the square. Its light radiated outward, a beacon of hope and strength. The villagers gathered around, their faces reflecting the glow of the staff, their expressions filled with determination and hope. The days turned into weeks, and the village slowly began to take on a new shape. The scars of the battle remained, but they were now interwoven with signs of renewal and growth. Gardens were replanted, buildings repaired, and new structures erected, incorporating both modern technology and ancient wisdom. As we worked, we continued to uncover more about Elysium's rich history. The ancient city ruins yielded new insights, revealing the stories of the Elysians who had come before us. We learned about their achievements, their struggles, and their enduring spirit. This knowledge deepened our connection to the land and strengthened our resolve to protect it. One discovery in particular stood out: a hidden archive beneath the ancient city, filled with texts and artifacts from a time long before the Great Silence. These relics provided invaluable insights into the Elysian civilization and their battle against the Shadow. They also hinted at the existence of other protective artifacts, similar to the Staff of Alandra, scattered across the planet. Leora and Dr. Evans led the efforts to decipher these texts, their excitement palpable as they uncovered new information. "These artifacts could be crucial in our ongoing efforts to safeguard Elysium," Leora said, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. "If we can find them, we can strengthen our defenses even further." Captain Reyes and Anara agreed that an expedition to locate these artifacts was essential. They assembled a team, including myself, to embark on this new mission. Our goal was to uncover the hidden relics and bring them back to the village, ensuring that we were fully prepared for any future threats. As we prepared for the expedition, I felt a sense of anticipation and purpose. The journey ahead would be challenging, but it was also an opportunity to deepen our understanding of Elysium and to build on the foundation we had established. Before we set out, we gathered once more in the central square. Anara addressed the village, her presence commanding and reassuring. "This expedition is a continuation of our journey," she said. "It is a testament to our commitment to protect Elysium and to uncover the truths of our past. We go forth with courage and hope, knowing that we carry the strength of our community with us." Her words were met with applause and cheers, a collective expression of support and encouragement. We knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but we also knew that we were not alone. The bonds we had forged, the lessons we had learned, and the strength we had discovered within ourselves would guide us. As we set out on our new mission, the sun rose over Elysium, casting a golden light over the land. The journey continued, and with it, the promise of discovery, growth, and renewal. We were the protectors of Elysium, united in our purpose and determined to safeguard the future of this extraordinary world. The shadows of the past had risen, but we had faced them with courage and unity. And as we moved forward, we did so with a deep sense of hope and a firm belief in the power of our collective strength. The journey was far from over, but we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, determined to protect Elysium and ensure its future. Our new mission was clear: to uncover the hidden relics mentioned in the ancient texts. These artifacts, if found, would bolster our defenses and provide us with a deeper understanding of Elysium's history and its struggle against the shadow. The journey ahead was daunting, but it was also filled with promise and the thrill of discovery. Our team consisted of Captain Reyes, Leora, Dr. Evans, Anara, Sarah, and myself. We packed supplies, maps, and the necessary equipment for a long expedition. The villagers gathered to see us off, their faces reflecting a mix of hope and concern. Anara's words of encouragement echoed in our minds as we set out, reminding us of the importance of our mission. The first leg of our journey took us through the dense forests that surrounded the village. The trees towered above us, their branches creating a canopy that filtered the sunlight into a soft, green glow. The air was filled with the sounds of wildlife and the rustling of leaves, a reminder of the vibrant life that thrived in Elysium. As we traveled, Leora and Dr. Evans continued to study the ancient texts. They had identified several possible locations where the relics might be hidden, each one tied to a specific point in Elysium's history. Our first destination was a site known as the Valley of Echoes, a place steeped in legend and mystery. The Valley of Echoes was once a sacred site for the ancient Elysians, Leora explained as we walked. It was believed to be a place where the past and present converged, where the echoes of history could be heard by those who listened closely. The journey to the valley was arduous. We navigated steep inclines, crossed treacherous rivers, and camped under the stars. Each night, as we gathered around the campfire, we shared stories and discussed our plans. The camaraderie that had developed among us was a source of strength and comfort. One evening, as we sat around the fire, Anara shared a story from her childhood. "My grandmother used to tell me tales of the Valley of Echoes," she said, her voice soft and reflective. "She believed that the valley held the key to understanding our past and our future. She would often say, 'To hear the echoes of the past is to know the truth of who we are.'" Her words resonated with us, reinforcing the significance of our mission. We were not just seeking relics. We were uncovering the truths of Elysium's history and our place within it. After several days of travel, we arrived at the Valley of Echoes. It was a breathtaking sight, a vast, open expanse surrounded by towering cliffs. The valley floor was covered in a blanket of lush vegetation, and the air was filled with a sense of stillness and reverence. As we ventured deeper into the valley, we could hear faint whispers carried on the wind, the echoes of a long-forgotten past. We set up camp near the center of the valley and began our search. Dr. Evans and Leora pored over the texts, cross-referencing them with the geographical features of the valley. Sarah and I scouted the area, looking for any signs of hidden chambers or ancient structures. It was Anara who made the first significant discovery. While exploring a series of caves on the eastern edge of the valley, she found an entrance marked with ancient symbols. The markings matched those described in the texts, indicating that we were on the right path. We entered the cave, our torches casting flickering shadows on the walls. The air was cool and damp, and the sound of dripping water echoed around us. The cave system was extensive, with winding tunnels and hidden chambers. As we ventured deeper, we came across a large, circular room with a stone pedestal at its center. On the pedestal lay an artifact, a beautifully crafted amulet that glowed with a faint, ethereal light. The amulet was intricately designed, with symbols and patterns that matched those we had seen in the ancient texts. We approached it with a sense of awe and reverence, knowing that we had found one of the relics we sought. Dr. Evans carefully examined the amulet. "This is a powerful artifact," he said, his voice filled with excitement. "It seems to resonate with the same energy as the Staff of Elandra. If we can harness its power, it will be a great boon to our defenses." We secured the amulet and continued our search. Over the next several days, we uncovered more relics, each one unique and imbued with its own special properties. There was a shield that could repel dark energy, a crystal that amplified light, and a staff that could create protective barriers. Each discovery filled us with a sense of accomplishment and hope. As we prepared to leave the Valley of Echoes, we felt a renewed sense of purpose. The relics we had found were more than just tools. They were symbols of our connection to the ancient Elysians and their enduring legacy. We knew that these artifacts would play a crucial role in our ongoing efforts to protect Elysium. The journey back to the village was filled with anticipation. We were eager to share our discoveries and to integrate the relics into our defenses. The villagers greeted us with cheers and applause, their faces alight with hope and excitement. Anara and the council quickly set to work, incorporating the new artifacts into our plans. The amulet was placed alongside the Staff of Elandra, its light adding to the protective barrier around the village. The shield was used to fortify our defenses, creating a formidable barrier against any dark forces. The crystal was installed in the central square, its light a beacon of hope that could be seen for miles. The staff was given to Captain Reyes, its power enhancing her already formidable skills. As we settled back into our routine, the sense of unity and determination that had carried us through the battle and the expedition remained strong. We knew that the challenges were far from over, but we faced them with a renewed sense of hope and purpose. The relics we had found were not just tools. They were a testament to the strength of our community and our commitment to protecting Elysium. One evening, as we gathered in the central square, Anara addressed the village. "We have uncovered the secrets of the past and harnessed their power to protect our future," she said. "But our journey is not over. We must remain vigilant, united in our purpose and determined to safeguard Elysium. Together, we are stronger than any threat we may face." Her words were met with cheers and applause, a collective expression of our resolve. The journey continued, and with it, the promise of discovery, growth, and renewal. We were the protectors of Elysium, united in our purpose and determined to ensure its future. As we looked to the horizon, we knew that we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The shadows of the past had risen, but we had faced them with courage and unity. And as we moved forward, we did so with a deep sense of hope and a firm belief in the power of our collective strength. The journey was far from over, but we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, determined to protect Elysium and ensure its future. Life in the village gradually returned to normal, or at least a new normal. The relics we had recovered provided a sense of security, their energies woven into the fabric of our daily lives. The protective barrier around the village shimmered with renewed strength, and the air was filled with a palpable sense of optimism. Yet, beneath this surface calm, there was an undercurrent of vigilance, a constant awareness that our battle against the shadow was not over. One morning, as we gathered for our routine briefing, Captain Reyes shared troubling news. "Scouts have reported unusual activity near the western border of our territory," she said, her expression grave. "There have been sightings of shadowy figures and disturbances in the natural energy flow of the area." A hush fell over the group. The mention of the shadow sent a chill down our spines, a stark reminder of the malevolent force that still threatened our world. "We need to investigate," Reyes continued. "We cannot afford to be complacent." The decision was made quickly. A team, including myself, Leora, Sarah, and Anara, would set out to investigate the western border. We prepared our gear, ensuring we had enough supplies, weapons, and the newly integrated relics to protect us. The journey to the western border was tense. The landscape changed subtly as we moved further from the village, the vibrant colors of the forest giving way to a more subdued palette. The air grew cooler, and an eerie silence settled over the land. As we approached the area where the disturbances had been reported, we could feel the shift in the energy around us. It was as if the very air was charged with a dark, oppressive force. We moved cautiously, our senses heightened, every rustle of leaves or snap of a twig setting our nerves on edge. We reached a clearing that seemed to be the epicenter of the disturbances. The ground was scorched, and the trees bore signs of unnatural decay. In the center of the clearing stood a stone monolith, its surface covered in ancient runes that glowed with a faint, malevolent light. Leora examined the monolith closely, her fingers tracing the runes. "This is an ancient marker," she said, her voice tinged with concern. "It predates the Great Silence. These runes are a warning, a seal meant to contain something powerful and dangerous." Anara nodded, her expression grim. "The shadow. This monolith was placed here to contain the shadow's essence, to prevent it from spreading." As we stood there, a sense of foreboding washed over us. The monolith was damaged, its seal weakened. The shadow was breaking free, its dark tendrils seeping into the land. We knew we had to act quickly to reinforce the seal and prevent the shadow from gaining a foothold. Dr. Evans, who had been studying the ancient texts back at the village, provided us with a possible solution. "There are rituals and incantations in the texts that can strengthen the seal," he explained over the comms. "But it will require a significant amount of energy and precise coordination." We set to work, using the relics to channel energy into the monolith. Anara led the ritual, her voice steady and strong as she chanted the ancient incantations. The rest of us focused our efforts on maintaining the flow of energy, using the amulet, crystal, and staff to amplify and direct it. As the ritual progressed, the monolith began to glow with a brighter, more vibrant light. The runes pulsed with energy, their patterns shifting and realigning. We could feel the shadow's presence pushing back, resisting our efforts, but we pressed on, determined to succeed. The strain of the ritual took its toll on us. Sweat poured down our faces, and our muscles ached from the effort of channeling the energy. But we didn't falter. We drew strength from each other, from the knowledge that we were fighting for the future of Elysium. Finally, with a final surge of energy, the monolith seal was restored. The runes glowed brightly, their light pushing back the darkness. The oppressive weight in the air lifted, and a sense of calm settled over the clearing. We collapsed to the ground, exhausted but victorious. The monolith stood as a testament to our efforts, its seal once again intact. We knew that this was only a temporary reprieve, that the shadow would continue to seek ways to break free. But for now, we had bought ourselves time. As we made our way back to the village, our thoughts were heavy with the implications of what we had discovered. The shadow was a persistent threat, its malevolent presence a constant challenge. We needed to remain vigilant, to continue our efforts to understand and combat this ancient enemy. Back in the village, we reported our findings to Captain Reyes and the council. "The shadow's influence is spreading," Anara said. "We need to reinforce all the ancient seals and uncover any other sites that might be at risk." Reyes nodded, her expression resolute. "We'll increase our patrols and work with the Elysians to identify any other potential threats. We cannot allow the shadow to gain a foothold." Dr. Evans suggested a new approach. "The texts mention other artifacts that might help us in our fight. If we can locate and harness these relics, we might be able to strengthen our defenses further." The council agreed, and a new plan was set in motion. We would divide our efforts between reinforcing the existing seals and searching for additional relics. It was a daunting task, but one that we were committed to undertaking. In the days that followed, we worked tirelessly. Teams were sent out to investigate potential sites, armed with the knowledge and tools we had gained. The villagers continued their efforts to rebuild and strengthen our defenses, their determination unwavering. As we looked to the future, We knew that the battle against the shadow was far from over. But we also knew that we were not alone. The bonds we had forged, the lessons we had learned, and the strength we had discovered within ourselves would guide us. The journey continued, and with it, the promise of discovery, growth, and renewal. We were the protectors of Elysium, united in our purpose and determined to safeguard the future of this extraordinary world. The shadows of the past had risen, but we had faced them with courage and unity. And as we moved forward, we did so with a deep sense of hope and a firm belief in the power of our collective strength. The journey was far from over, but we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Determined to protect Elysium and ensure its future, we moved forward with a sense of purpose and an unbreakable resolve. The discovery of the weakened seal at the monolith was a stark reminder of the persistent threat posed by the shadow. It became clear that our efforts to protect Elysium required a deeper understanding of the ancient defenses and the relics that powered them. Dr. Evans and Leora dove into the ancient texts with renewed vigor, seeking clues that might lead us to additional relics and knowledge about the shadow. One evening, as we pored over the texts in the village's central hall, Leora made a significant breakthrough. These texts mention a hidden archive, a repository of knowledge known as the Hall of Whispering Stones, she said, her eyes gleaming with excitement. It is said to contain detailed records of the ancient Elysians' battle against the shadow and instructions for creating powerful relics. Captain Reyes immediately saw the importance of this discovery. If we can find the Hall of Whispering Stones, we might gain the knowledge we need to strengthen our defenses permanently. We need to organize an expedition to locate it. The council quickly approved the mission. Our team, Captain Reyes, Leora, Dr. Evans, Anara, Sarah, and I, prepared for what promised to be a challenging journey. The texts provided only vague hints about the hall's location, suggesting it was hidden deep within the mountains of eternal night, a range that lay beyond our explored territory. As we set out, the villagers once again gathered to see us off, their faces a mix of hope and concern. The journey ahead was filled with uncertainty, but the potential reward, a deeper understanding of the shadow and the means to combat it, was too important to ignore. The mountains of eternal night were as formidable as their name suggested. The terrain was rugged and treacherous, with steep cliffs and narrow passes that tested our endurance and resolve. The higher we climbed, the colder the air became, and the perpetual twilight cast eerie shadows over the landscape. Despite the challenges, our determination never wavered. Each night, as we camped under the stars, we reviewed our progress and strategized for the next day's journey. Anara shared her insights into the ancient texts, her deep connection to Elysian history providing valuable guidance. After several days of arduous travel, we reached a plateau that offered a breathtaking view of the surrounding mountains. It was there, among the ancient ruins scattered across the plateau, that we found the entrance to the Hall of Whispering Stones. The entrance was marked by a massive stone archway, inscribed with symbols that matched those in the texts. We entered the hall with a mixture of awe and reverence. The interior was vast, with towering stone pillars and walls covered in intricate carvings. The air was filled with a faint, melodic whispering, as if the stones themselves were speaking to us. At the far end of the hall stood a massive stone altar, covered in ancient runes. Dr. Evans and Leora immediately set to work deciphering the runes and exploring the hall's many chambers. The wealth of knowledge contained within the hall was staggering: scrolls, tablets, and carvings that detailed the history of the Elysians, their battles against the shadow, and the creation of powerful relics. One of the most significant discoveries was a series of scrolls that described the construction of a grand relic known as the Heart of Elysium. This artifact was said to have the power to amplify the protective energies of other relics and create a barrier strong enough to repel even the most potent manifestations of the shadow. "This is exactly what we need," Leora said, her voice filled with excitement. "If we can construct the Heart of Elysium, it could provide us with the ultimate defense against the shadow." The scrolls provided detailed instructions for creating the Heart of Elysium, but the process was complex and required rare materials scattered across Elysium. We carefully documented the instructions and began planning our next steps. The first task was to gather the necessary materials, a mission that would take us to various parts of the planet. As we prepared to leave the Hall of Whispering Stones, we felt a renewed sense of purpose. The knowledge we had gained was invaluable, providing us with the tools we needed to protect Elysium. The journey ahead would be challenging, but we were determined to succeed. The return journey to the village was filled with anticipation. We shared the news of our discoveries with the council, and plans were quickly made to gather the materials for the Heart of Elysium. Teams were assembled, each tasked with retrieving a specific material from a different part of the planet. Captain Reyes and I were assigned to retrieve a rare crystal known as the Lumina Shard, which was said to be found in the crystal caverns to the north. Sarah and Anara were tasked with finding the starfire ore, a metal that could only be mined from the depths of the Fire Mountains. Dr. Evans and Leora would work on deciphering additional texts and coordinating the efforts from the village. Our journey to the crystal caverns was filled with both excitement and trepidation. The caverns were known for their beauty, but they were also fraught with dangers. The crystal formations within were delicate and easily disturbed, and the caverns themselves were home to various creatures that had adapted to the dark, crystalline environment. As we ventured deeper into the caverns, the walls began to shimmer with the light of countless crystals. The air was cool and filled with a faint, musical hum, the sound of the crystals resonating with our movements. It was a breathtaking sight, a testament to the beauty and mystery of Elysium. We navigated the narrow passages and carefully extracted the Lumina shards, ensuring that we did not disturb the delicate balance of the caverns. The process was painstaking, but we managed to gather the crystals we needed without incident. Meanwhile, Sarah and Anara faced their own challenges in the Fire Mountains. The intense heat and volatile environment made mining the starfire ore a daunting task, but their determination and resourcefulness saw them through. They returned with the precious metal, their faces flushed with triumph. Back at the village, Dr. Evans and Leora had made significant progress in deciphering the additional texts. They had uncovered more information about the construction of the Heart of Elysium, including the final step, a ritual that would infuse the artifact with the protective energies of the Staff of Elandra and the other relics. With all the materials gathered, we began the meticulous process of constructing the Heart of Elysium. It was a labor of love and dedication, each step bringing us closer to our goal. The entire village participated, their collective efforts a testament to our unity and determination. The final step of the process was the ritual. We gathered in the central square, the Heart of Elysium placed on a specially constructed pedestal. Anara led the ritual, her voice strong and clear as she chanted the ancient incantations. The air crackled with energy as we channeled the power of the relics into the heart. As the ritual reached its climax, the Heart of Elysium began to glow with a brilliant, radiant light. The energy pulsed outward, enveloping the village in a protective barrier. The light was so intense that we had to shield our eyes, but we could feel its warmth and strength. When the light finally subsided, the Heart of Elysium stood as a beacon of hope and protection. The barrier around the village shimmered with renewed energy, and we knew that we had succeeded. The Heart of Elysium was a powerful defense, a testament to our determination and unity. The villagers erupted in cheers and applause, their faces filled with joy and relief. We had achieved something extraordinary, something that would protect Elysium for generations to come. As we stood there, basking in the glow of our achievement, we knew that our journey was far from over. The shadow was still out there, but we were stronger and more united than ever. The journey continued, and with it, the promise of discovery, growth, and renewal. We were the protectors of Elysium, united in our purpose and determined to safeguard the future of this extraordinary world. The shadows of the past had risen, but we had faced them with courage and unity. And as we moved forward, we did so with a deep sense of hope and a firm belief in the power of our collective strength. The journey was far from over, but we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Determined to protect Elysium and ensure its future, we moved forward with a sense of purpose and an unbreakable resolve. With the Heart of Elysium completed and the village now enveloped in its protective barrier, we felt a sense of security and accomplishment. But deep down, we all knew that this was not the end. The shadow's threat loomed ever-present, and there was a palpable sense that the final confrontation was imminent. We needed to prepare for what could be the ultimate battle for Elysium. Captain Reyes convened a council meeting to discuss our next steps. The heart of Elysium has bought us time and protection, but we need to take the fight to the shadow, she began. We cannot remain on the defensive. We must seek out the source of the shadow and eliminate it once and for all. Anara nodded in agreement. The ancient texts speak of a dark rift, a place where the shadow's power is strongest. If we can locate and destroy it, we might be able to eradicate the shadow's presence from Elysium. Dr. Evans added, the Hall of Whispering Stones mentioned a key, a relic known as the Lightbringer, which has the power to close the rift. We need to find this relic and use it to seal the shadow's gateway. The plan was set. Our mission was to locate the Lightbringer and confront the shadow at its source. The stakes had never been higher, but our resolve was unwavering. We gathered our supplies, weapons, and relics, knowing that this journey would be the most dangerous yet. Our team, Captain Reyes, Anara, Leora, Sarah, Dr. Evans, and I, set out with a sense of urgency. The villagers saw us off with words of encouragement and hope, their faces reflecting the gravity of the situation. We traveled through familiar forests and crossed treacherous terrain. Our destination a place known only in legends, the Abyss of Shadows. The Abyss was located deep within the heart of Elysium's most forbidding region, a place where even the bravest explorers dared not venture. The land grew darker and more desolate as we approached, the air thick with an oppressive energy. The very ground seemed to pulse with malevolence, a stark contrast to the vibrant life we had left behind. As we neared the abyss, we encountered increasing resistance. The shadow's minions, twisted creatures born of darkness, emerged to thwart our progress. They were relentless, their attacks fueled by the malevolent energy of the shadow. But we fought back with equal ferocity, our determination and the power of the relics guiding us. In the midst of one particularly fierce battle, we stumbled upon an ancient ruin. Its architecture was unlike anything we had seen before, its design intricate and otherworldly. Leora recognized the symbols etched into the stone. "This is it," she said breathlessly. "The Lightbringer is here." We entered the ruin cautiously, aware that the shadow would not let us claim the relic without a fight. The interior was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, each one filled with traps and guardians. But we navigated the challenges with skill and determination, driven by the knowledge that the fate of Elysium rested on our success. At the heart of the ruin, we found the Lightbringer. It was a magnificent artifact, a staff crafted from a luminous, otherworldly material that glowed with an inner light. As we approached, the staff responded to our presence, its light intensifying. Anara carefully lifted the Lightbringer, its power resonating with the other relics we carried. With the Lightbringer in hand, we made our way to the Abyss of Shadows. The journey was grueling, the terrain growing more hostile and the shadow's attacks more frequent. But we pressed on, our resolve unshaken. The Abyss was a vast, dark chasm that seemed to swallow all light and hope. It was here that the shadow's presence was strongest, its malevolent energy radiating from the depths. As we stood at the edge of the chasm, we could feel the weight of the darkness pressing down on us. Captain Reyes held the Lightbringer aloft, its light cutting through the darkness. "This is it," she said, her voice steady. "We end this now." We descended into the abyss, the Lightbringer guiding our way. The darkness grew thicker, more oppressive, as we ventured deeper. The air was filled with whispers and malevolent laughter, the voices of the shadow taunting us. But we did not falter. We knew that this was our final stand. At the heart of the abyss, we found the rift. It was a swirling vortex of darkness, a gateway through which the shadow poured into our world. The sight of it filled us with dread, but also with a fierce determination to end the shadow's reign. Anara stepped forward, the Lightbringer in her hands. "This is for Elysium," she said, her voice echoing in the darkness. She plunged the Lightbringer into the heart of the rift, its light exploding outward in a brilliant, blinding flash. The shadow screamed in fury, its essence writhing and twisting as the Lightbringer's power surged through the rift. The darkness began to recede, pulled back into the void from which it came. The ground shook, the very fabric of reality trembling as the rift closed. We stood there, watching as the last vestiges of the shadow were drawn into the void. The Lightbringer's light continued to shine, a beacon of hope and victory. When the rift finally closed, the abyss was filled with a profound silence, the oppressive darkness replaced by a sense of peace and calm. Exhausted but triumphant, we made our way back to the surface. The landscape that had once been dark and desolate was now bathed in light, the malevolent energy of the shadow replaced by a vibrant, life-affirming force. As we emerged from the abyss, we were greeted by the sight of Elysium in all its glory, its beauty and vitality restored. The journey back to the village was filled with a sense of elation and relief. We had faced the shadow and emerged victorious. The villagers greeted us with cheers and celebrations, their faces alight with joy and gratitude. In the days that followed, we worked to ensure that the Lightbringer's power was integrated into our defenses, reinforcing the heart of Elysium and the protective barrier around the village. The knowledge we had gained from the Hall of Whispering Stones was shared with all, ensuring that future generations would be prepared to face any threats that might arise. As we stood together, looking out over the vibrant landscape of Elysium, we knew that our journey had been worth every challenge and sacrifice. We had protected our world and ensured its future. And as we looked to the horizon, we felt a deep sense of hope and a firm belief in the power of our collective strength. The journey was far from over, but we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Determined to protect Elysium and ensure its future, we moved forward with a sense of purpose and an unbreakable resolve. Together, we had faced the shadows of the past and emerged stronger, united in our mission to safeguard the extraordinary world of Elysium.